But it's an added bonus of revenue for the association. Again, the other highlight is we did reestablish termite bond on 15 units in July and 17 units in October, and we'll do probably another 36 units in 2012 in groups. And again, we'll do more. So I pretty much, the termite thing is going to be like on a 2-year plan. 36 units in 2012 and 36 units in 2013. If the revenue changes or increases significantly, we can add like half of that. So I add another 15 units in maybe the fourth quarter of 2012. There's a real cost that's realized each year. There's a renewal on the bond. So we'll be paying for 32 units. The 32 units we already did this year, we'll pay a bond renewal on those. It's kind of like getting insurance for termites. But we'll bring on probably 36 properties and pay for a total of 32 additional properties on the renewal. Let's see, what else do we do? One of the things I do want to do, and we're going to kick off and get another piece of mail prior to the end of the year, is the website. If you did get your coupon books, which hopefully all of you have, it has a login and a password on it, but those are system-generated items. If you go to the website, you're actually asked to re-enter a new login and a new password, because the goal is to make it simplify the system so that you don't have to keep calling it us to go, hey, I can't remember what my password was. And you can change it based on the questions that it asks. It's fairly involved. It only takes like 4 or 5 minutes to get through. But what we're going to do is we're going to send out a letter again, and we're going to do a review of this meeting, obviously, for those who haven't attended, as well as a push to get people on the internet. And what the website has is it has a calendar. If you ever did have an event, we can put it on the calendar. It has the ability as individual homeowners for you to take a look at your account. So if you have missed payment or there is something that doesn't make any sense to you, you can take a look at your previous balances and your previous payments, and if there are any late fees or fines or whatever, and then we can have a conversation to try and figure out why that is and whether it can be cleared up. It also allows you to take a look at any violations that are against your property. We inspect the neighborhood pretty much every 4 to 6 weeks. You get a letter that's got a lot of legal language in it. It's not meant to upset you in any way, shape, or form. It's basically, there's a single line in there that I actually fill in. It says that your trash can is out, or your vehicle's parked in the wrong place, or you got the wrong kind of blinds, or one thing or another. And the goal is to just tighten up the neighborhood a little bit. And it's not to single out any members. It's basically to say, hey, you take care of your place, and then I'll deal with Sadie and Mrs. Smith and Mrs. Hawkins across the street and somebody else down the road. It is meant, though, if there is an issue, we do have members every once in a while report certain things or concerns that they have. They remain anonymous on those things. We basically send a letter. I cannot give you an update on the status because it is considered a private matter between the management company and association. The board does get that information in a report. Again, it's private information. But the bottom line is that the goal is that we try and make sure that everybody keeps to the plans, keeps to the documents as best they can as far as property maintenance. And I actually go behind the units and see some of the junk that's sitting there in storage or whatever, and basically send them a little reminder to either remove that stuff from the premises or bring it back inside. For the most part, the biggest issue that we have in the neighborhood is parking. As the neighborhood eventually does get built out, that's going to be a real big problem. A lot of people don't understand that when you buy into the neighborhood, that if you have a huge truck, you can't get in the garage. That's not the association's issue. It's a buyer beware issue in the state of Georgia. You got a one-car garage, some of you don't. Some of you live in have your building structured where you have garage underneath your unit, behind, and it can accommodate more than one vehicle. But the bottom line is that all the parking spots that you see in the neighborhood are auxiliary. and they're meant for guests. They're not meant for residents to use on a continuous basis. And we've got friendly patrols that you know, take note and take a look at those things. We've tried to introduce other programs. At one point I tried to get the cars booted, but we found out that Gwinnett County doesn't allow that. So the only thing that we can exercise would be the tow vehicles. I'd rather not do that. Again, if you get a note, or your neighbor gets a note, the best thing you can do is communicate back to me. Let me know what the circumstances are. You're not always going to like what I have to say or how I'm going to direct you to change your behavior to meet the compliance issue that we've expressed in the letter. But the bottom line is, if you don't communicate, there's not a lot I can do. And something is going to happen, and it's not going to be something that some people are going to be happy with. And the second part of this, from the financial standpoint, again, much healthier association, $26,000 in the operating account, $18,000 in the reserve fund. Because the streets are private, those numbers need to be increased rapidly, but it's kind of another discussion for another day. When the neighborhood's completely built out, you know, that number is going to have to increase to cover 20 years of reserves to do major maintenance on the infrastructure within the neighborhood based on how the documents are written. The AR continues to be the #1 issue that we fight, both the board and myself. It stands as of today around $77,000 that we're looking for. Roughly 1,500 or 1,400 of that is credits. 67 members owe between $3,000 and $10. Some owe 3, some just owe 10. 30 homeowners of the 67 owe $63,000. So, you know, the top 30 are the people that we want to chase. We get 10 members in collections, and we're trying to put more people into collections. There's a couple of issues that have to still straighten out with the attorney, because previous boards, I'm going to say that, previous boards made some transactions with the attorney that we weren't fully aware of, and we restructured with the attorney how we proceed with collections so that it would benefit the association as far as cost out. Collections can be a very expensive process, and what we set up with the attorney, which is the same attorney, is that basically the outlay of cash for the association for each individual we pursue is roughly around $110. However, there are several items that were already in process, and what I'm trying to do is figure out whether or not we can still hold on to the same deal.